today I get to talk about one of the most important things on earth, one of the most important things. And it's my utmost honor that you get to join me on this journey. If you didn't know the differentiation between these segments, this particular segment, we talk about purpose, but in the lenses of God, okay? We talk about purpose. We talk about serving. We talk about using our gifts, and living a purposeful life, but through the lenses of the Bible. Because what other blueprint do we have for the kind of life that we are supposed to live? And I don't think I've said this. I have had it in my mind for so long, but I don't think I've articulated it, that Jesus did not just come to save us and hallelujah, and sweep us to heaven and then just shove us there and, enjoy eternity and worship God. That is a good cause. He died for our salvation, that we will be saved. But more than anything, he knew that we are people that are in the physical body and that we have day-to-day schedules. We have a daily kind of life. And he is a rabbi. He is a teacher that teaches us how to maneuver the daily kind of life. Now, that for me is the sweetest part of Jesus, or is the sweetest part of God, that he teaches us, he guides us when he says, trust in the Lord with all your heart, okay? And he says, lean not on your own understanding. And he says that in all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct. And he shall direct your path. He knows the path you move. He knows the life that you're living. He knows the dreams that you have. He knows the desires and the longings that you have. And guess what? He's not just going to save you and tell you about righteousness and how to live a righteous life and how to work towards getting to heaven and how to live it in eternity. He says that you get 100 on earth, 100%. That you don't live a shoddy life on earth all because you are preparing yourself. I think that is an old gospel where you are all thinking that, let me just live these things, of the world. Let me just, live a sinking life, a survival life, for as long as I will go to heaven. Let me tell you, a surviving life and a bad life can even fail you to go to heaven because you will be complaining all the time. But when he says that we'll get the 100% on earth, what a joy that we can be able to live in prosperity. We can be able to live in abundance. We can be able, and he put everything that we need in the blueprint of our creation in each one of us. That means whatever you need to be successful and to be significant is not anywhere external. It is inside of you. The moment you can be able to find it, that is where, your life is actually going to change. So today we're talking about speaking, and I feel it on my heart for the rest of the part of this year to concentrate because there is no other gift that God has given to us that comes close to speaking. Yeah, because everything, you pitch by speaking, you preach by speaking, you practice your purpose by speaking, you create content by speaking, you coach by speaking, as in everything that you are going to do in this world starts and falls on speaking. It starts and falls on speaking. And today we want to excavate or to pull out the framework of Jesus and how he spoke so we can learn how to speak. It's possible you're a professional, you have assignments and you have teams to lead, and you need to be able to communicate to them. You need to be able to give them assignments. You need to be able to, to help them out. It's possible that you're at the implementation level. At the implementation level, that means you're receiving a lot of communication, a lot of speaking, and you must be able to decode it and understand it in order for you to be able to implement. If you're a manager, you're a middle manager or something like that, an executive, that means that you have a lot of speaking. You're getting a lot of orders in form of communication, and you are communicating. If you are a C-suite kind of executive, you are a founder, you are a CEO, the same is happening to you. If you have crossed over into the communication, guys, I've talked about the levels of value. So don't look at me like you don't understand them. If you don't understand the levels of value, I think I'll just have to shoot a particular show so that you can understand that there's implementation, there's unification, which is managerial, and then there is the communication. Now, at the communication level is where people are really deciding how much they want to earn. As in, is it even coincidence that we name it communication? It's because you take charge of your life. Now you know that, by the way, I can market my goods. Now you know that I can ask, I can survey, I can understand the people that are bringing things from China. Like, how do they buy them? How do they ship them here? What is exactly happening? I am a musician, I am an artist, I'm a public speaker, I am a coach. I can decide how much I earn. Okay, that is even before we go to the imagination. So that means the speaking arena is very, very important and very pivotal when it comes to whatever business you are dealing in. It just doesn't matter whatever business you are dealing in. All right. And what sparked off this conversation, by the way, was John 7:46 that says that no one ever spoke this way. Now, those were the guards. The guards were supposed to get a hold of Jesus. You remember when he was going to the temple and then he was making those small cliques of him and the Pharisees, where he was telling them about the kingdom of God, where he was telling them about science, where he was telling them about the prophecies, where he was telling them, like, he was speaking so many things, and he was young, okay? And his parents had gone ahead of him and his siblings, and so he was sticking behind. And while the Pharisees were saying, please arrest him, the guards were like, no one ever spoke the way this man does. No one ever spoke the way this man does. Now, for me, this is what sparked off this kind of conversation that we have. Like, we have seen the Martin Luther King. We have seen the Oprahs of this world. We have seen, as in, name it, any one person that you think is a communicator that communicates effectively, the TD Jakes of this world. We have, as in, there are so many, and I know so many of us follow different people. But the thing is, this God said, no one has ever spoke the way this man speaks. And that's why they didn't touch him. They didn't even touch him. They didn't put their hands on him. They were like, we are amazed. We are surprised. Now, we can all grow to a level where we speak with a lot of authority, with a lot of confidence, but we must be able to understand how do we actually do that. And the best example that I can ever get is actually Jesus, because he was a man on mission. He was a man on mission. And number one, he spoke with clarity, knowing what he was saying and why he was saying it. Now, so many of us, we just fall into sleeping. We stumble into speaking. We never prepare enough. And I think I will take time to even break down what preparation means. Because, so many of us, when we are preparing to speak, when we are called to speak, even when someone just spots you on the spot and puts you on the spot and tells you, okay, asks you a question, that means you have enough time, seconds, to even prepare in your head and gather your mind. Why is this person asking me? Why are they, why are they asking me? Why did they choose me particularly? What information do I have that is useful to these people? What information can change the trajectory of this conversation? You have, and God gave us the capability and the potential of actually, gathering our thoughts and being able to, outline them in our minds. So when we speak sense. There is nothing that Jesus spoke for the sake of speaking. But there is no day he opened his mouth and he was just blabbering. No. He spoke for impact. Okay? And when he says, I think later on in Luke 4:18, that the Spirit of the Lord is upon me to preach the good news, and the Spirit of the Lord is upon me because he has anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. And when I read this, by the way, this was quite mind-blowing, because I've usually told you, understand who your audience, what your niche is, understand who your audience is, understand their pain points, understand their solutions, because you are a solution giver. The instance of speaking is not to create more chaos. Yeah, I know there are people who use their mouths to speak, to create more chaos. But the instance of speaking is to provide solutions, to provide value, to communicate in an effective way. And so here, he's giving us nearly like a framework of what people help us, or generally on earth, if you have a mission, what you are supposed to be doing. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me because he has anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. The poor are his target audience. Yeah? And he's preaching the gospel. The gospel is his niche, clearly. His niche. He has sent me to heal the brokenhearted. Yeah? Healing is his niche. The brokenhearted are his target. All right? To preach deliverance to the captives. Preaching is his niche, and captives are his target audience. And recovering of sight to the blind. So he is even a healer to the blind, to set liberty, or to set at liberty them that are bruised. So to each of his gifts of healing, of preaching, the anointing, the deliverance, there was a mission to each. He was anointed in each segment for a particular group of people to bring value, to bring solutions, because their pain points were they were captives, they were heartbroken, they were brokenhearted. Their pain points were they were poor. Their pain points were they were bruised. Okay, so now that means we have to have a why we are speaking. Know what you are saying and know why you are saying it. That is speaking with clarity. I hope that you're putting that down if you're moving with me. So that means you must know the purpose for your words. And every time you open your mouth, it should never be to impress. It should never be to impress. It should be to impact. The reason as to why so many people are speaking to be seen, and I think I've said it so many times, we don't speak to be seen. We don't speak for upload. We don't speak so that people can clap their hands and say, wow, he was a very good speaker. We speak that people's lives will be transformed, will be changed. We speak to bind broken hearts. We speak to be able to heal the bruised. We speak to be able to, to give hope to the hopeless. We speak to be able to resurrect hope in people's lives. So that means you must be able to connect with people. You must be able to be concerned with people. You must be able to love people in order to serve them, because speaking is service. Speaking is serving. I hope we're moving together. All right. So we're speaking for impact, and clarity comes with conviction. The conviction is here. When he says that I have the Spirit of the Lord is upon me, that is a conviction that is on the inside of him. No one needed to know about it outside of him. As in, he needed to know, he knew it, that I have been anointed for such a time as this. I've been anointed to preach the gospel to the poor. I have been anointed, so there's a conviction inside of me. And I've said it so many times that if you are not convicted, don't open your mouth. There has to be a conviction. Conviction comes from a burden that is eating at you, a burden that is making you restless, that you know what? The business world is suffering. I think people just don't know how to carry out their businesses. That you know what? Teenagers, I think they're lost. I think I need to be able to help them out. I think there's so many girls out there that are teenage mothers and they just don't know how to go about life. They don't know that there is actually hope at the end of it all. If I have gone through through it, let me go back and hold their hands. Let me go back and resurrect that hope. Let me go back and tell them that it's not going to be this bad for the rest of your life. There is going to be a turning point. You have a decision to make. You have choices to make, okay? The marriages that are dying, if there is a conviction inside of you that I have been anointed to preach the good news to the marriages, I usually tell people that my calling when it comes to, because I love training people, discovering their purposes, developing their purpose, and then deploying their purpose. And then on the other hand, I am called and anointed to be able to speak life into marriages, to create strong, lasting marriages. All right. But how do I help to strengthen that? Is by helping people to understand that they need to be able to be happy in their marriages, and they cannot just live for the sake of living. And I usually get a lot of people that come to me. I usually the 911 kind, like it's an emergency. We're about to break up, and we have failed to see face to face. And so, we are here. We don't know. Listen to us. We've been told that there's only one person in Kampala, and that is Bahati. So here we are. We've booked the session. Please tell us what exactly, where do we go from here? And all of a sudden, they leave my office hugging and kissing and holding hands and going for lunches and going for dates, and they talk about what it is they need to rectify, and they're giving birth to children and naming them Hilda. And I'm like, okay. But the thing is, there is a conviction. My conviction, and I've made it very clear, is no one should suffer in a bad marriage. No one should suffer in a bad relationship, in a disrespectful relationship, in a toxic relationship, in a narcissistic relationship. No one should suffer in that. We have not been called to sink, to survive, to give up on our lives. We have been called, and even, the Bible talks about it in John 10:10, that the enemy comes to steal, to kill, and to destroy. And that is what some marriages do. And that is what some relationships do. And that is what some people do. But he came that we will have life, and life in its abundance. Life in abundance is not life that you just have to endure. It is not an endured life. It is a life that you choose, that I want to be happy, and I'm going to bring happiness into I'm going to come as a whole human being. I'm going to come as a confident human being. I'm going to come as a human being with my self-esteem and my value. I know who I am and whose I am. And when someone sees someone that has the confidence, that someone that has the self-esteem, then you know that I cannot play on their future. Then you have to look for someone else to play with or to toy with. Yeah? But the people that have decided that this is not the kind of life that I want to live, I want to live a different kind of life, they have changed their lives. And indeed, their marriages have changed, or the people in their lives have decided to change. So you see the conviction that I have, that, if I've been able to build this brand, if I've been able to actually speak to people, transform people's lives, meet people that just even watched me 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and they're like, Hilda, you don't know what you did in my life. You don't know me, but 14 years ago, you gave me back my life. 14 years ago, you helped me to take my children to school, to own up my part of life and take my children to school, and now they've graduated and they are doing so well. You don't know what you did. Why? Because every time I speak out of conviction. Confusion kills influence. Some of us are too confused. We're like, now, and what confuses us is we want to please people. I don't speak to please people. No, I'm not here every day for your pleasure. No, I am here to deliver. So whether this message is for you or it is for another person, I just don't care. I am here as God's mouthpiece with a message that he placed on my heart, the one that I'm convicted about, and I'm going to deliver it, and I will be out of here. And guess what? Have a big lunch, and I will have fun, and I'll be like, Yes, I did what God told me to do because I live for three things. Number one, obedience to God. Number two, serve and love his people. Number three, live an abundant life. So I do not joke about my life. I do not joke about my God. I do not joke about my assignment. I hope that you don't do that as well. All right. So confusion is a killer of influence. Some of us are confused about what we are going to say, and then we're like, I want to say things that are going to please people, and then I don't know how so and so is going to look at me, and then you start mumbling, you start shivering, you start being nervous, and yet you know exactly what you want to do. You cannot get that promotion minus the speaking capabilities. You know that you will never be able to influence anyone on social media minus speaking. All right, so the whole of this remaining part of this year, we are engaging everyone that thinks I have been called, I have a message, I need to be able to speak, to be able to clarify your message, to be able to articulate your message with clarity, to be able to communicate it effectively, to be able to be camera ready. Yes, to be able, we're going to have some sessions where we're just going to sit with cameras, where we craft your message. Every one of us has assignments. We come into one room, and after you've crafted your messages, you've gone through what your content pillars look like, how you want to help people and stuff like that, and then we will take time to practice camera skills, where you'll sit in front of a camera and you will have a script, and after that you will do without a script, and you will look into the camera and communicate. And the more we do this, is the more that you are going to break even. The more that you're going to break even in your business, in your career, in your whatever it is that God has called you to do, and wherever you are, because we are all different, and I will get to that. So don't speak to please. Make sure that you speak to plant seeds of transformation. And just like I actually looked at Martin Luther King Jr.'s message when he talked about, I have a dream. I mean, it was very crystal clear. It was a rooted message. It was rooted in conviction. It was driven by vision. He didn't just speak to the people, but he spoke into their future. That is why it arose a certain unsettledness in them. It made a movement. Some of us, we feel the word movement is good. Oh, I want to create a movement. Oh, I want a creative movement. I know that God has used me. The last graduation we had, that was should have been last Friday. We graduated around 50 people, and 50 people that committed their lives to discovering their purpose, developing their purpose, and deploying their purpose. And that was not the first graduation. The other graduations, we've graduated 100 people, we've graduated 80 people, we've graduated 120 people, 160 people, and this was the 8th graduation. So there is a movement of gladiators. There is a movement of transformers. There is a movement of world changers. There is a movement of trailblazers, a whole movement that is setting our country ablaze, and that is setting the world ablaze. Because whenever I see some of these people, today I was perusing through social media, and I see most of my some of my mentees should have been around 6. They are in different countries, and guess what? On mandate, they're on different countries on invitation to speak, to transform lives. But when they signed up for this program, for the speaking program, little did they know. I used to speak to them, and I asked one of them recently, so whenever I used to say these things, like, what was in your mind? What was in your mind? I took them as in, everything you spoke, I took it as the gospel truth, and I knew that it will come to pass in my life. Just imagine. I would randomly speak to them. I would show them how my life has panned out. I will show them the changes. I would give them the same blueprint that I went through. And I will tell them, if you can work it out, if you can be consistent, if you can show up every day, there is no telling where you are going to be. And guess what? I still use the same model that Jesus used, because he said that for those that believe in me will do greater works. I have told all my mentees that you are going to perform way greater. If you think Bahati speaks well, if you think Bahati serves well, if you think Bahati has attained any kind of status, you are going to not just triple or quadruple, but you are going to be way better than me because you are in a different generation, all right? And with different capabilities. The technology is different. The platforms are different. It's not like in my times where it was more analog. So I have pushed myself and pushed myself. But let me tell you, you can actually be better. All right? So I need you to be able to create to create movements, and I want you to craft your message. And if you don't have a message, I need you to get in touch with me. You have a number on the screen. Get in touch with me. Let's craft your message. Let's discover your purpose. Let's develop it and let's deploy it. There is no fulfillment you will ever get in your life that is outside your purpose. No. You can make all the money that you want, yes, in the business world. And I will tell you that part of what Jesus knew to do, he knew that he spoke with purpose. He was a man on mission. He knew why he was speaking and to who he was speaking. But number two, he knew his path. He was aware of his path. He was not everyone's cup of tea. He knew he was unique, and this assignment was unique to him. Now, my assignment confuses so many. My assignment is unique to me. Yeah? My assignment is unique to me. For the first part of my assignment, actually, no one knew that I worship God. They didn't know that I'm actually a Pentecostal Christian. They didn't know. And so that part of me was more of motivating, was more of helping people with their relationships and stuff like that, until I couldn't hide my God and I brought my God forth. So now when you talk about business, definitely some people are like, but why are you talking about business? When you talk about God, then why are you talking about God? But again, I'm less concerned about what everyone has to say. I'm only concerned about the call on my life and the person, the God that called me, the conviction I hold on my heart. And so if my calling confuses anyone, and then you are developing gifts, and then you are helping marriages, yes, I am multi-talented. I'm multifaceted. I was not just called for one thing. There are people that are called for one thing, okay? But I am not called for one thing. Some of you don't know that I'm a recording artist. I have a full album of songs. Some of you don't know I'm a worshiper. As in, if I worship, some of you will even marvel, will be like, what? Some of you don't know I'm a songwriter. I have written over 100 songs that are actively being sung in churches. Yes, I am multifaceted. I am multi-talented. I'm multi-gifted. And I'm not apologetic about that. No, I am not apologetic about that. So, we all have different paths. His path was to preach the gospel, and he has told you to who and for what. Okay? What is your calling? What is your path? Can you stay in your path? Can you stay in your path? It's people that are not in their paths that will start stoning the people that are in their path. So if someone ever stones you, if someone ever says anything against you, if someone ever gets stuck behind their keyboard with the little data that they have, and they become the superstars of talking you down, of distracting you and pulling you down. Remember Nehemiah? Nehemiah's path was different. Nehemiah's path was not just to be the cupbearer in the kingdom and eat good food and please the king and just be there with a good countenance, with a smile on his face for the rest of his life because he has to pretend, because king's cupbearer, how dare you? You can't just have a bad countenance. And when he gets the news about Jerusalem being in ruins, he did not hide his facial expression. He was sad. Yes, he continued serving the king, but he was sad until the king was like, but why is your face like that? And so, this man must have prepared. He spoke from his heart. He was like, you know what? While I'm here, my country, my people, my city, Jerusalem, is lying in ruins. And I'm not happy about that. And this is what the king tells him. What are you going to do about it? He goes back, thinks of a plan. He doesn't just blubber. Some of us, when someone asks you, what's your problem? Why are you looking like that? And then you speak about what happened. And then you just there, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know, but and then you start even hating on people. And then you just, like, but I don't know who did this. I don't know, but why are people like this? But that is wastage of time. Get to the point. Have a structure. So he had a structure. He was like, you know what? I need time to go and mend the walls and rebuild the walls. But I have needs. And the king is like, okay, what are your needs? He's like, I need timber, I need men, and I need letters that will help me to actually cross, to even go back, that allow me to even travel, to move with this timber and all that. And the king arranged all of it because he had structure in what he was saying. He knew exactly what he wanted to do, with what, with who, and where. And so he goes to rebuild the wall. And Sanballat and his other acquaintances are thinking that, you know what, I think this man has come back to be our governor. They just think about it and they plant the seed in everyone, and they're like, you know what, let's go and pull him down. While he's building, we're going to be putting down the bricks. While he builds, we put them down. And so Nehemiah's people were building with one sword in one hand and a mwiko in the other. I don't know how we call a mwiko, but with the building spatula in his hands. And while they were calling him, after they didn't even call him while he was at the foundation. No, they waited for him to get somewhere. And that is where, by the way, the enemy is very strategic, very strategic. He will never attack you at the beginning because he's thinking, there's nothing much. I think they will even give up. I think nothing much will come out of that. When they see you persisting, when they see you climbing higher, when they see you that the wall has been rebuilt, and now they come and look up to Nehemiah and they're like, Nehemiah, come down and come and explain to us these allegations of you wanting to be a governor. And this is what Nehemiah told them: I am not coming down. No one is distracting me from what I am doing. I am not coming down. So you realize he knew his path. He knew what he was doing. Do you know your path? We are all unique. I talked about, should have been some time back, maybe last week, I talked about the phases, the layers of purpose. And I talked about the layer of that is the spiritual layer. Yeah, we all have a unifying kind of purpose: to please God, to serve his people, to love his people. Those are unifying spiritual aspects of purpose that you can never practice purpose until you do that layer of spiritual. And then we said we have the special purpose. Okay, I hope some of you are writing. The special purpose is the unique assignment you have on your life. That is where we have the diverging parts, that your assignment is different from mine. It's possible that you are a businessman, you are gifted and anointed to do business. Yeah. You are gifted and anointed in the networking arena, where you're going to build movements of networking, where people will be able to network and businesses will be networking. It's possible that you are anointed for the global market. We all have different, for teenagers, for mothers. Yeah. You see, like, different people, everyone is bringing out something, and you're like, even this one exists. Even this one exists. So you realize that we are all called to do different, and that is the special assignment. And then we have the social assignment, which is connecting to God and to people, that you can never do your assignment in isolation, because number one, your assignment, you are called to people. Yeah. So you are called to people. And then the last one, that sacrificial assignment, is when you have to give without any form of expectation. You have to be able to serve without any form of expectation. All right. So I need you to be able to look into your life. All right. We've said clarity. Okay. That is purpose. All right. And that is knowing your why you are speaking. And then we have talked about the path. He knew his path. All right. Let's talk about something else that actually he did, that is speaking with authority. speaking with authority, because he knew where he was coming from. He knew the heavens backed him. He knew God backed him. He knew he was on earth for a reason. All right. And then he said that he taught them as one who had authority, not as their teachers of the law. That means the teachers of the law had just learned the law and they were passing on the laws from generation to generation. But this man spoke like he understood what he said, like he was supposed to say it, like he was supposed to deliver. He taught them as one who had authority. So he didn't speak with doubt. When you have authority, you don't speak with doubt. You don't second guess yourself. How many of us are doing that in boardrooms? How many of us are doing that even at speaking engagements? How many of us are, we are doing that even when we are creating content. We are doing that even when we are speaking to spouses. We are doing that when we are speaking to children. Imagine children that do not have expectations, but you start stammering, you start hesitating, you start using filler words, you start like you are fearing your own children. Some of us have to grow up. Yeah, some of us have to grow up, and some of us have to understand the kind of calling. You're talking about your business. There is someone, she signed up for the program and told us honestly that, you know what, do you know that I've been assigning the speaking part and pitching for our business to a person that I hired because I didn't feel I'm good enough to speak. I didn't think I'm eloquent enough. I didn't even think I have what to say. Like, I was just second guessing myself now. After she went through the mentorship, actually she was even halfway through the mentorship. She would attend every Friday. And then she told one of the Fridays, she rose her hand and she told me, Coach, do you know that there are visitors that came and they were coming from abroad. They were coming to my farm and they were, they were like, no, we don't want anyone to deal with us. We want you to deal with us. And I was like, you know what? I am actually going to speak. I prepared myself. I gathered my mind and I spoke to them. And even my workers were looking at me and telling me, Madam, wow, we have never seen you as eloquent like that. We have never seen you as serious like that. Just imagine. That means she had been speaking with a lot of doubt and she just needed to understand the authority that she has so that she can put it into practice. You are a leader, you are a manager, but whenever they invite you to speak, whenever they tell you it's your time to speak, or let's hear from so and so, that is when you run dry, the saliva runs dry. That is when you start shaking. That is when you start asking yourself, even when you know what to say, you are not going to say it. You're going to say, no, I don't have anything to say. Or maybe some of you have even given excuses. No, we will do one-on-one meetings. Wapi, there is no one-on-one meetings. You're just afraid to speak because you are filled with doubts, because you're thinking, you have put people at the center of everything, and you're thinking, what will Rose think? What will Jen think? What will Daniel think? Will they think I'm an incompetent leader? Will they think? We all grow. We all grow from incompetence to a level of competence. So, and speaking, you do not learn speaking by reading. You do not learn speaking by dancing. You do not learn speaking by walking. You do not learn you learn speaking by speaking. You improve speaking by speaking. Guys. So when you learn to speak with authority, things are going to obey and things are actually going to turn around. Okay? So he knew that heaven backed him. He knew that God backed him. He knew why he was supposed to be on earth. And authority, I want us to understand authority. Authority is not in volume. Because, some of us mistake authority to be in volume. No, authority is in alignment with who you are. That this is the position I carry. This is the calling I carry. This is the conviction on my heart. And these are the people that I want to help. These are the people that I want to inform. These are the people I want to communicate to. It comes from alignment even with God, number one, that he has called me for such a time as this. Remember Esther? He's like, guys, go on and pray. Go on and pray. And I will go to the king. As in, no one was allowed to show up unannounced in the king's palace. No, even if you had favor from the king, no one was allowed. But he says, I will go to the king. And I bet when she went and she was speaking about her tribe and she was speaking on their behalf, she did not speak with doubt. She did not speak with volume. She spoke with authority that these are my people. These are my people. So she was in alignment. When she asked them to pray and they prayed, she knew that God was backing her. All right. So when you speak from alignment, even demons obey, even bosses obey, even markets and economies and global markets obey when you speak in alignment. All right. So stop second guessing yourself. What heaven already has authorized you, has permitted you, has backed you. I knew for sure at a very young age that I admired speakers. I wanted to be a speaker, and no one was going to tell me otherwise. No one was going to tell me otherwise. And everything I have done up until now is, I know I have the backing of God. I know I am doing his will. I know I am serving him. I am loving his people. And I know that is why I'm so sure that I am backed by abundance. I am backed by favor. I am backed by power. I am backed by authority. I am backed because I am in my lane. I am in no one else's lane. I am in my lane. Okay, so, and I will ask this because what does authority look like, or even confidence? Because when someone is speaking in confidence, they are not doubtful. Have you seen a doctor when they are diagnosing you and how they're speaking? I know for sure I have walked away from some doctors and never gone back to them because they didn't sound so sure. They didn't have authority in that particular line of a sickness or disease or whatever it is. And so I felt I needed another opinion from a person that had authority and a person that was confident about what they're doing. I've talked about saloon people as well. You go and someone touches your head. The way they speak, the way they touch your head, the way they work on you, you're like, you know what? No, I'm never coming back here. It's like they're second guessing themselves. It's like they don't know what they are going to do. It's like I want someone that is confident. I want someone that is confident. So you realize that we love to buy from people that are even confident. A person that is confident is a person that will tell you, no, that has not looked good on you. I think I would prefer that you try on this and see. A person that is not confident is a person that will want you to take even things that do not that are not good for you. All right. So if you believe in your message, people receive what you deliver with authority. If you believe in your message, and Jesus did that perfectly, he believed in his message and he delivered with authority. What message has God given you? What has he bestowed and planted on your heart? What kind of conviction is echoing in your mind? I need you to speak up. If you don't know how to speak up, then join us. If you don't know how to categorize it, to clarify it, to refine that message, so that it can cut through, so that it can speak to people, it can transform their lives. That is why we say there is such a thing as discovering purpose and developing purpose. Because when some of us understand, number one, that, you know what, I think God has called me to do this and this. And then the development is giving you the skill, the competence, and the tools to be able to deliver that message in a way that can be understood. Because in communication, there's something that we call encoding and decoding. All right. It's not just about you, the communicator. It is also about the person that you're communicating to. And for the message to be effective, that means they must be able to understand exactly what you were trying to deliver to them. All right. So I need us to just move on swiftly, but I will talk about compassion, because one of the pillars for me this year is to be able to serve with compassion. Compassion goes beyond words. Compassion gets into action. Compassion gets into the nitty-gritty, into the meat of what the issue is. All right? That you connect to people. You connect to people. And I said part of, I think I've said it before, part of the pillars that I serve with is to be able to serve with compassion, to restore hope for life, and to embellish or to decorate people's lives. That means you're shining to be the original them that God created. that you will take away all the doubt, the self-sabotage, the everything, the low self-esteem, the lack of confidence, the procrastination, that you will see the person for who they are as God decorated them. So compassion is something that is very big when it comes to me. So Jesus didn't just speak the truth, he wrapped it in love. He wrapped it in love. So people remember how you make them feel all the time. They remember how you make them feel. Even when you speak with conviction and authority, but wrapped with love and compassion, people know. That is why I think it's John Maxwell that says that people don't care about what you have to say until they know you care about them. If I know that you care about me, it just doesn't matter how you deliver the message. I will know that, by the way, you want it for my good, even if you are rude, even if you are extreme, even if you are, you mean well. So I know you care about me. I know you want me to go from point A to point B. That is why you're being very articulate, very authoritative, and you're speaking your mind with conviction. That is compassion, okay? So people remember how you made them feel. Whenever you go to speak, whenever you open your mouth, be it in the boardroom, be it in your business, be it while you're pitching, let it not be, because we can see through you. When you show up and you're like, you know what, guys, I want you to see me and how smart I am and how eloquent I am and how prepared I am. Yes, we are looking at you, but we are bored. We are bored because there is no connection. So you might come not put on, you're not so well, you don't have that much makeup on you, but we can see it from the first word that you speak that you care about us. You care that we understand what you're saying. You care that we understand that this product will enhance our lives. You care that we actually understand your heart for why you are creating this product. You care. So because you care, you have my attention. Because you are compassionate, you have connected with me before you have wanted me to connect with your message. All right? So it's not just what you say. Compassion makes truth digestible. I know that I'm an extreme speaker. I know, and I subscribe to a school of thought that people don't just understand things when you are in the neutral and you're telling them, oh my God, please just find your purpose, just develop it and deploy it. God will be happy with you. It's even going to know. I will tell you that you're going to die unhappy. You are going to be unhappy for the rest of your life. If you don't discover your purpose, develop it or even deploy it. Because all your fulfillment is wrapped up in one thing: contribution. So now, I will take you to the extreme and also let you bring you to the extreme and bring you to the extreme. And sometimes, even when I say things like, you know what, if you are a person that lacks the truth and you're not man enough, you are not man enough. A real man will know the truth and speak the truth. And then some people will be like, oh my God. And then I will be like, yeah, that's me. I said it. I don't know where that came from, but I said it. But the thing is, are we just, what should I call it? In Luganda, they call it kusisiriza, Are we just, begging people to change? Or we are showing them what will happen to their lives if they don't transform, if they don't become who they are supposed to be, I know for sure that it's going to be miserable. So I might as well paint the cruelest picture or the worst picture so that you see that is not the life that you want to have. You would actually want to have a better life. The reason is why some men will come to me or some husbands and they'll be like, what did you say to my wife exactly? What did you say? Some of them have even met my husband and they've asked him or told him, I don't know what your wife said to my wife, but I think my wife has flipped. She has changed. She's now a wife. And I don't know. What did she say? She only met him once. She only met her once. She only met her twice. What did she say? And of course, they don't know what I said. But the thing is, I have to slap some sense into some people sometimes. And it's not sweet. And sometimes I will have to chase your husband out of the room. Or if I'm slapping sense into your husband, I will have to chase you, the wife, out of the room, and we'll be just the two of us. And I'll be like, okay, now let's have this conversation. Because some of these things I would not want to say them while she is here. But I will call a spade a spade. I am not a fool. I am not a young child. And I am not as naive as your wife. So you are not going to just speak anyhow. The truth on the table. Is this the kind of marriage you want? Do you love her, or you're wasting her time? Because from the time you actually entered my office, I don't see any ounce of love and respect that you have towards your wife. So if you don't love her, let her go. You did not marry a maid. You did not marry. And then all of a sudden they're like, but I love her. And I'm like, okay, so let's go back to the basics. How do you treat a person that you love? How do you treat a person that you are loyal to? How do you treat a person that you respect? Because if that is not the way you treat her, the next time I meet her, she has to know that she's wasting her time. And so she has to decide for herself. And no. Okay, just give me 1 month. Just meet us after a month, and then we will be able to. We're going to come back to you with results. Okay, let me go back and work on this and stuff like this. And the woman after some time will be like, "What did you say to my husband?" Because he has totally changed into a better man. I never knew this version of him. And I'm like, enjoy your marriage, have fun. But the thing, I'm not going to be there. She's your wife. You love her. If you don't love her, who will you love? Even your children are counting on that. No, I'm not going to be here to do. No. So, and that's why whenever someone hires me or calls me or even invites me to their company or whatever it is, I tell them, guys, you invited Hilda, so you are getting Hilda. Even when you call me to Ecclesia or if to a mosque, I tell you guys, okay, if this was a mistake, then you better regret before I get in. But when I start speaking, I speak what I have to speak. And so nothing is off limits. Yeah? But where do I get that authority? It's because I care about the people. I don't want to waste anyone's time that they will come and pay their money in my therapy session, and then they get out after I've just laughed with them. Oh God, you will be fine. You will be okay. God bless you. I will pray for you. No, I'm not going to pray for you. I will have to first slap sense into you. Speak the truth the way it is, and then I can pray for you after I've given you the truth. And that's the way. So we all have different things, but I am compassionate, and that is why I am that. So don't weaponize your word. Use them to restore. There are just different ways you can do that, but use them to restore. Remember the Samaritan woman? Jesus spoke to the Samaritan woman at the well, and he addressed her truth, but not before he saw her pain. When you see people's pain, you will speak the truth in love. And even if the truth is extreme, the truth will set you free. But not the truth that you don't know. The truth that you know is the one that will actually set you free. All right? So think of someone hurting. Think of someone going through a business, failing, their marriage failing, the children have become children. What words would Jesus use if it was in his time? What words can you use to bring the hope? All right. Number 4, I want us to speak with strategy. Strategy. Every word has an intentional impact. Okay. There are times he spoke in parables, Jesus. There are times he wanted to teach, but he wanted to involve them, to have them, their brains working, and he spoke in parables. He knew his audience, yeah? And he didn't just drop, theology and, just speak about heavenly things. He told stories about nets, about fish, about farmers. And when he spoke to the farmers, he spoke about seeds, about soil. Why? Because he understood his audience. Now, how many of us understand, even if it's just in the boardrooms, you understand the kinds of people that you're talking to. You understand. That's why when I'm invited to speak, I usually ask them, what's the average age? How many of them are married? How many of them are single? I need to be able to understand so I know how to deliver the message that I'm actually delivering. Okay? When you're speaking to the sick, when you're speaking to people whose marriages are dying, when you're speaking, there has to be strategy. You have to understand the people that you are talking to. So it wasn't just deliver. I have to deliver. He adjusted his delivery. He did not adjust his truth, however. He adjusted his delivery whenever he needed to deliver to a different kind of people. And then learn your audience. Contextualize without compromising. Contextualize without compromising. Let me tell you, every room is going to be different. Every room is going to be different. When you walk in, that is why we usually talk about the thermostat that is measuring the hotness or the coldness of the room, understanding the people that are in that room. And if you have discernment and you are backed up by God, I will tell you there are some rooms I have gone and my message has changed. Yeah. The truth of the delivery and what, their lives, the kind of transformation their lives have to undergo has not changed, but the delivery has changed. Why? Because I looked at them and I saw the edge, and I saw sometimes it's just not even the edge, but it's the discernment to see that there's a deep-seated issue of poverty. But you have called me to talk about business. You have called me to talk about marriage. You have told me, so I will find a way of making sure that I adjust my message according to the people. I will read the room. I will be the thermostat. I will get into the room and I understand the temperature of the room. Okay. So I need you to be able to understand how you speak to a 7-year-old, to understand. And I've said it so many times. If you are speaking, you must speak with simplicity. You cannot just speak for the sake of speaking. Speak with simplicity. Okay. That even a child in P5, P7 can be able to understand you. Because what is the essence of speaking? To communicate. What is the essence of communication? To be understood. And what is the essence of being understood? To implement and execute and transform lives. All right. So if you've come this far with me, that we still have a long way to go when it comes to speaking. I'll be dropping these nuggets from God's perspective, from the Bible perspective. I believe that God has blessed us and He has gifted us, and He wants us to be able to change the world. But there's no way we can change the world without speaking. And so it's going to be quite a long series, but bear with me because I would want you to turn into one of the best speakers in the world, so you can deliver the message that you have on your heart to the people so their lives can change. Love you, love you.